There is a fleet of aircraft sitting right now at various air bases across America. Engines ready, crews in constant alert. These planes are arguably the most important in the entire US military arsenal. But here's the thing, if you ever see one of these take off in anger, it means something has gone catastrophically wrong. I'm talking about a scenario where civilization as we know it is hanging by a thread. Today, we're diving into the E-4B Nightwatch, better known as the Doomsday Plane, and why the US military has spent billions ensuring it never has to fulfill its actual mission. What you're looking at isn't just another military aircraft. The E-4B Nightwatch is a mobile command center designed for one terrifying purpose: to keep the US government and military functioning during and after a nuclear war. Think of it as the White House, Pentagon, and Strategic Command all rolled into one airplane that can stay airborne for days without landing. Only 4 of these modified Boeing 747s exist, and their existence represents both humanity's greatest technological achievement and our darkest contingency planning. But before we get into what makes this aircraft so unique, we need to understand why it was built in the first place. Let's go back to the Cold War. Picture this. It's the 1970s and the United States faces a terrifying reality. Soviet nuclear missiles can reach American soil in under 30 minutes. Washington, D.C., the Pentagon, and every major command center could be vaporized before anyone has time to react properly. The question military planners faced was simple but horrifying. If the president and the entire chain of command are killed in a first strike, how do we ensure someone can still coordinate a response and maintain control of our nuclear arsenal? The answer was the National Airborne Operations Center, or NAOC. The military needed a platform that could survive a nuclear attack, stay airborne indefinitely, and maintain communication with submarines, missile silos, and bomber squadrons scattered across the globe. The E-4B entered service in 1974 during one of the tensest periods of the Cold War. It was derived from the Boeing 747, but calling it a modified 747 is like calling a Formula One car a modified street vehicle. Almost everything was changed. So, what makes the E-4B special? Let's break down the incredible engineering that went into creating this flying fortress. First, the sheer size. This aircraft is 4,000 square feet of floor space across 3 levels. That's bigger than most people's houses. And it's all packed with equipment and crew stations. It can carry up to 112 people, including the President, Secretary of Defense, Joint Chiefs of Staff, and dozens of support personnel. The plane is hardened against electromagnetic pulse, or EMP, which is the invisible killer that comes with nuclear detonations. An EMP can fry even an electronic circuit for hundreds of miles, turning modern technology into useless junk. The E-4B's critical systems are shielded to survive this. Communications equipment is where things get really interesting. This aircraft has 67 different satellite dishes and antennas protruding from its fuselage. It can communicate on virtually every frequency imaginable, from VLF radio waves that can reach submarines deep underwater to satellite uplinks that can connect to any point on Earth. There is also a 5-mile-long trailing wire antenna that can be deployed in flight for very low-frequency communications. Imagine a fishing line, but it's filled with electronics and extends for miles behind the aircraft. The E-4B can refuel in mid-air, and with aerial refueling, it can theoretically stay airborne for a week, limited only by engine oil consumption and crew endurance. During the September 11th attacks, one of these aircraft stayed airborne for more than 30 hours straight. Now, let's talk about what this plane actually does, or rather, what it would do if the worst happened. The E-4B's primary mission is to serve as the National Airborne Operations Center. In the event of a nuclear attack or any catastrophic event that destroys ground-based command centers, the E-4B becomes the new Pentagon. From inside this aircraft, the President or the Secretary of Defense can execute war plans, direct military operations, and coordinate with allied nations. One of these planes is always on alert at one of several locations. If tensions rise anywhere in the world, an E-4B shadows the President on international trips. You've probably seen footage of Air Force One landing in foreign countries. What you might not have noticed is the bulbous 747 with the distinctive hump that often accompanies it. That's the Doomsday Plane, staying closed just in case. The interior looks like something from a science fiction movie. There is a conference room where the National Security Council can meet, a situation room with secure communication equipment, a rest area for the crew, and dedicated workstations for military commanders from each branch of service. In a crisis, the aircraft's battle staff would coordinate responses across all military domains: nuclear forces, conventional forces, cyber operations, and space assets. They'd be making decisions that could affect billions of lives while flying through potentially radioactive skies. Here's what makes the E-4B truly sobering. This aircraft represents an acceptance of the unthinkable. Its very existence is an admission that we have built weapons capable of destroying our own civilization, and we need a backup plan for when someone actually uses them. Think about the scenario where this plane fulfills its actual mission. It means multiple nuclear weapons have detonated on American soil. Millions are dead or dying. Cities are burning. The electromagnetic pulse has knocked out power grids and communications across huge swaths of the country. Radioactive fallout is spreading on the wind. And somewhere above all that chaos and destruction, a modified 747 is circling with a handful of survivors, trying to coordinate what's left of the government and military. They're making decisions about retaliation, civil order, and survival, while their families and everyone they know might be among the casualties below. The people who train to crew these aircraft live with the psychological burden. They practice for a mission they desperately hope will never come, knowing that if it does, the world they left on the ground will likely be gone when they land. You might be thinking, okay, but the Cold War ended decades ago. Is this still relevant? Unfortunately, yes. Nuclear tensions haven't disappeared. They've just shifted. Russia still maintains a massive nuclear arsenal, China is expanding its nuclear capabilities, North Korea has developed nuclear weapons and the missiles to deliver them. And the risk of nuclear terrorism, while different from Cold War scenarios, is very real. The E-4B fleet was used extensively after 9/11, not for nuclear war but as a survivable command post during a different kind of crisis. These aircraft have been deployed during natural disasters, major military operations, and whenever there is a credible threat to national leadership. But here's the challenge. These planes are getting old. They're based in 747s built in the 1970s. The youngest E-4B is now over 40 years old. The Air Force One is currently studying what should replace them, looking at newer aircraft like the 747-8 or even the 777. The replacement program will cost billions of dollars to ensure this capability continues into the future. There is a fascinating paradox at the heart of the E-4B program. These aircraft are incredibly expensive to maintain. Each plane costs tens of millions of dollars per year just in upkeep, not counting the crews, the alert status, and the constant upgrades to communication equipment. Some people argue this money could be better spent elsewhere. After all, we're spending billions on a capability we hope to never use. But that's exactly the point. The E-4B exists as a deterrent and an insurance policy. Potential adversaries know that even a devastating first strike won't decapitate American leadership or prevent a coordinated response. In a dark way, the E-4B helps prevent the very scenario it was designed for. Its existence makes nuclear war less likely by eliminating the possibility of a successful decapitation strike. No enemy can hope to destroy America's command and control in one blow as long as these aircraft exist. This is the logic of deterrence. Spend billions preparing for war to prevent war from ever happening. It's expensive, it's philosophically complex, and it's been the foundation of nuclear strategy for 70 years. The E-4B Nightwatch represents both the best and the worst of human capability. The best because it's an engineering marvel that showcases our ability to solve incredibly complex problems. The worst because it exists to manage the aftermath of humanity's most destructive impulses. Every day, crews maintain these aircraft, train for their mission, and hope they never receive the call. They represent a line of dedicated professionals preparing for the worst day in human history. a day they work to ensure never comes. When you see that distinctive bulbous 747 at an airbase or accompanying the president overseas, you're looking at a very expensive insurance policy. You're seeing billions of dollars spent on a capability we desperately hope remains forever unused. The E-4B Nightwatch is the most important aircraft the US military operates, not because of what it does, but because of what its existence prevents. And in a strange way, the fact that most people don't know these planes exist is a sign that they're doing their job. They operate in the shadows, ready for the unthinkable, working to ensure that unthinkable day never arrives. If you found this deep dive into military technology and nuclear strategy fascinating, hit that like button and subscribe for more content exploring the equipment, tactics, and strategy that shape our world. What other military systems would you like to see covered? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and remember, the best weapons are the ones we never have to use.